Immediate action. And here are the highlights. First, all customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured, rest assured they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today.
Rest assured, your money is safe with me. I'm Joe Biden. Welcome to today's live stream of the release of the US inflation data. And as you might have noticed, of course, I'm not Joe Biden. My name is Dirk, and I'm joined today by fellow streamers, NatoshiCrypto. Welcome, Natoshi. Good to see you, Natalie.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Good. And of course, as always, when there are important news releases out there, I'm also joined by Jonathan, aka LIBZ42. Once again, happy to see you here.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. I mean, I like that when you said that whenever there's a big news event, I'm here, because I don't know anything about news events. So it's awesome to be here, though.
I was about to say it's where we can share the pain of a news event once again.
Yeah.
When we forecast it in the wrong way. No, of course, just kidding. Later on, we are going to add a fourth guest, Alexander from Crypto Magazine, running a little bit late, but sends his regards already, should be here in around about 10 minutes to join us as well. And as always, we want to see today how the inflation data is going to be. And I think I'm not exaggerating if I say this is probably, if we look into the last 2 years, maybe the most important news event to be released, because it comes at a time where things are changing so fast with everything that went down last week or the last couple of days, especially in terms of Silicon Valley Bank. So there's so much stuff to talk about really today and so many things to address. And we only have 25 minutes actually left until the actual news release, that maybe we should just start and get going. So guys, Natalie, what are you expecting today? I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me quickly share my screen here, that we are expecting 6% in inflation, right? I have to go back here to home to access this great new economic calendar here of 6% is the forecast. What do you think, Natalie? What are you expecting today from this event?
Well, I do believe when it comes to the market, when it comes to Ethereum, BTC, and all of that, it will take us up a little bit more, actually. So that I'm not super focused on these numbers. Actually, I've been looking at them, and we're at 6.4 now. So yeah, I do believe that it will get a little bit lower, actually. I do believe that, based off the information that I've been reading about. But I'm not going to say too much now, because you...
Great. So you think we are probably going to see a little bit of better inflation data than forecasted. So it's maybe something below 6%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
All right. That sounds good. What do you expect?
Well, you know me. I'm not expecting anything.
That's good.
I don't know. I have no idea, and I feel like it's a wonderful place to be at, not knowing anything about these inflation numbers and not expecting anything. But what I do know is, if we do have anything expected going on, either in either direction here, we have, I mean, with the current bank situation in America, and you heard the speech from Biden. I mean, it's not super super confident, that guy. So it's like, I'm a little bit worried about, first we had Silvergate collapsing. Obviously, that has a lot to do with FTX, and then we had the Silicon Valley Bank, which basically collapsed because probably had a like very shitty risk department, just like FTX, right? So hopefully we see like 2 isolated events which just collapse because they are just very bad risk management, right? And the CEO just did a very poor job calming down the depositors and customers. But I feel like that is also what's at taking center stage here, and not the actual inflation number. Because if inflation is lower than expected, we are going to see probably a massive bull rally here, because then what Powell can do, or what the Fed can do, is they don't have to hike rates as much, right? And that would also be good for the banking situation. Now imagine if inflation is higher than expected. That's going to create a lot of problems for the Fed, right? Because what the Fed wants to do here is they want to simultaneously like create a worse environment for the economy, and especially the labor market in the US, but also make sure that they have the control, the situation under control with the banks. So it's going to be a very, very tough situation for the Fed if inflation is higher than expected.
Yeah, I don't want to be actually in the shoes of Jerome Powell at the moment. A lot of information that you shared just now, and maybe we should dissect it a little bit. So when it comes to, I think the special situation that we really saw there with Silicon Valley Bank is that it's not a classic case like in 2008 where you could say like, oh, there was no risk management. I mean, there was no risk management. They were looking for new risk management, actually. So you're right on that one. But they didn't do like crazy speculative things, where they bought like some risky assets in the hopes for great returns. Like, for example, Lehman Brothers did in 2008. Actually, they were very, very conservative because they mainly bought US Treasury bonds with 10 years of maturity. And they did so at a time where the interest rates for those were still at around about 1.5%.
But isn't that very risky, though? I mean, going in with 10-year maturity, isn't that very risky?
Of course, you should have spread it out more evenly, over different maturities. But it's like per se not, if they would have had the option to just hold on to them for the next 10 years, there's no money lost. But because of all those rumors, of course, they were forced, because people kept withdrawing from them. So they were actually forced to sell those and realize the losses they had on those. But it's crazy. So, I mean, if I want to be a little bit provocative here, you could actually say that it's the Fed's fault that this bank went down.
Absolutely.
But of course, you need risk management to assess stuff like this, which they didn't have. Seems like they spend their money on other stuff. Nonetheless, I was a little bit panicking, honestly speaking, over the weekend, because I thought, well, this can be very contagious. And it reminded me so much of what was going down in 2008. And back then, I remember in Germany, we had our then Chancellor Angela Merkel going in front of a camera saying something like, I guarantee you your deposits with banks are safe. So basically what Joe Biden did yesterday, but she could transport it, in my opinion, in a bit more, she could radiate more confidence than Joe Biden, in my opinion, could do yesterday. And the difference between, of course, back then and now also is, there was social media back then, but not as much as nowadays. Plus, we didn't have alternatives. We didn't have an alternative called Bitcoin. And that is for me very, very interesting, that amidst all these banks going down and doing so bad, we suddenly see a meteoric rise in the price of Bitcoin. So the question really is, and also if I look at the price, what the price is doing right now, if I go here to, let's maybe say the half-hour chart, we can see it. Somehow the price wants to go up. So the market is kind of anticipating, hey, maybe the numbers today are better than expected. And we can finally break out over, this mysterious, unbeatable barrier of 25,000 that has been lingering around there for such a long time now. What do you guys think? If we see a better number in round about 18 minutes than expected, are we going to see prices above 25K then very fast?
Well, I mean, price is better than expected. Of course, I mean, Bitcoin is going to pump. That's no question about it. If inflation is lower than expected, Bitcoin is going to pump. So going back to what you said with seeing similarities with the 2008. Now, obviously, I don't remember what I was doing in 2008. I was 18 years old. I had no idea about trading and finances at that time in my life. But if you look at Bitcoin, what you have today, so like part of me kind of simultaneously am thrilled that the conspiracy theorist in me would love to see the global financial banking system just absolutely die. That would be awesome, right? And Bitcoin just takes center stage and just become the thing that it was meant to be. But then the logical and rational part of me says that's not going to happen, because Bitcoin is just another risk asset, like everything else, like the stock market and everything else. So I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm sorry, but that's why I'm invested in Bitcoin, because I do believe fundamentally that it's the only our only chance to escape the fractional reserve banking system, right? But is it gonna happen? I don't know. Probably not.
Absolutely. And like promised, Alex from Crypto Magazine also here joining us. Can you hear us, Alex?
Yeah, thank you. I hear you good. Do you hear me too?
Yeah, we can hear you as well. Welcome to today's live stream. We were just, trying to wrap up a little bit what was going down the last days, really, of course, with Silicon Valley Bank, why we have seen Bitcoin, despite all these bad news, outperforming really the stock market, especially, I think, in the last 2 days. We've I kind of have a feeling the market is really expecting a better number when the market is like pricing in already a better number than expected. So maybe something below 5%. One question I would like to ask Natalie, because Natalie, you are kind of the queen of scalping. And I always enjoy very much, watching you doing your scalping videos for the New York opening session. How would you handle a thing like something like this in news release? Do you normally, tend to stay at the sidelines because you don't want to get involved, because we never know in which direction volatility is going to express itself? Or are you making like a game plan for yourself?
So what I always do when I'm looking at NASDAQ, I can actually share my screen of what I have.
Yeah, please do so. Yeah.
I'll show my little scalping levels. So I was actually going into the market. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Yes. Okay. So before I started, I was just analyzing the overall. I'm looking at NASDAQ at the moment. So when I'm going into the charts, when we do have some announcement news coming out, I typically don't trade the market while we have these type of events. But what I've noticed with these events is that we usually have a big momentum to one direction, and when that direction is finished after a couple of minutes or 1 hour or so, the market just tends to reverse the trend. So what I do while that's happening, I'm trying to figure out the bullish levels and the bearish level. So for example, now if we see when everything is happening, and if the market is giving me a lot of volatility to the downside, now everything depends on the numbers that comes out. And if the market would drop a lot to the downside, what I have in this case on NASDAQ, I'm looking at 11,970, and I'm looking at 11,932, 11,880. Everything depends on how volatile it will be, but it can also take us back down to 11,785. And from these levels, if we have that volatility to the downside, I then expect the market to have a bounce to the upside. This is usually what happens when New York session does kick in on the lower time frames. You usually see it on the 1 hourly. So you have like this big momentum for the market, that because it has to retest certain levels, Fibonacci levels, support and resistance zones, and then it gives you the that retest for then the market just to reverse the trend. Now, we don't know exactly what direction the market will take in the beginning, but when it comes to NASDAQ, these are the levels that I'm looking at if the market start off with a drop. But if the market start off with a bullish momentum, I'm looking at the resistance that we have been retesting for a lot of time. So at that point, when we're looking at NASDAQ, we have the resistance around 12K, which means that we can have a crazy push, also try to break this level and then see the market drop from it. And then we also have another fake out from that resistance. So that's basically what I am doing when it comes to when we have news event happening, when we have the announcements, or just when the market kicks in the beginning of New York session. And looking at BTC, what I had is that if we also see another crazy drop before the market hits up, is that we just might see the market drop down to around 23.4K. And also the same thing when it comes to BTC is that we're trying to break above this resistance now, which I hope that we actually will break now. But we've seen how
I think we all do, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But how much I would love the market to break it, I still have to look at these levels right here around 25.2K to see that I'm not getting that crazy fake out that we usually have before the right momentum does happen. So that's why I always look at how does the market start? Does it start with the bullish momentum, the bearish momentum? And after that, I'm trying to find the levels it will test to then see the reverse. So I'm never going into the market when it happens. I'm waiting for the market to give me the retest. And after that, I'm taking my decision of the direction where the market is going to.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Natalie. Sorry, I think somebody wanted to say something. No? Okay.
No?
Well, I think I'm already starting to see ghosts because of the sleep deprivation of the last days. So, Alexander, since you've just joined us, welcome again. And of course, we would like to hear your opinion too. We were discussing, obviously, first of all, about are we going to see a better or worse number than expected, than the 6% today in 10 minutes? And you as a trader, how do you normally handle events like this? Maybe you have a tip for everybody watching out there. And by the way, if you're watching this live at the moment, I can see 75 people are at the moment. We have a giveaway. So if you ask your questions, you can be rewarded double today. If you take a screenshot of your question and post it on our Discord, you have a chance of winning some nice trading bonus for your account. So there are obviously no dumb questions. This is your chance that you can ask whatever you always wanted to ask about a market situation like this and get rewarded for this. So I think that's pretty nice. Now to you, Alex.
First of all, thank you, Dirk. Hi, Natoshi. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
Sorry for my delay. I was stuck in the traffic. So now I'm also here. Nice to meet you all. So yeah, my expectations are quite bullish at the moment. I think the numbers are they will not rise as much as people think, because the technical data for me I always look at Bitcoin at the moment. So this is my analysis, is really bullish. We had a bullish cross on the RSI. I'm a little bit of an indicator guy.
If you want, you can. I mean, if you have right now, you can also share your screen with us.
I can try, because I can try it.
So next to the camera icon down there should be like.
I didn't give my Mac the authority to share it with Chrome, so no problem. I can tell it either.
Okay, just tell it. I'm going to try to find a Bitcoin chart for you then here. What do you want? Like a daily chart? Or?
Yeah, you can watch on a daily. We have a cross. We had a cross yesterday on the signal line for the RSI on the daily. At the moment, we are a little bit overbought. About on the hourly RSI, and we had a cross on bullish cross with the RSI of 75, which means for me these are only my entry levels, my entry decision levels. But typically in situations like this, I'm a hedge trader. So what I'm typically doing in situations like this, at the moment, I'm long. I'm already long since 1 hour ago. So because I buy the rumor, sell the news, when the event is coming, my stop loss is already in profit. So I move my stop loss with the market now. We had a little bit of pump, maybe because of the expectations. When they're getting true, I think we have a lot of pumping action in the next minutes. And then let's see what happens. When I see that the volatility is going more than 1%, for example, I will start hedging with 0.5 stop loss hedging levels. Maybe you know what I mean. When I expect an upward, maybe we go back to a resistance, to a support, pardon. And then I see, okay, the support is getting confirmed. Then I take a long position, but I hedge it with 0.5. I also watch the average true range in these situations on the hourly, and then I see that I get a perfect scalp on a sinus function there. Maybe we have it in 1 hour. Yeah, but then I would like to say, when the trade is working 1 or 2 times fine, I'm out of the market for the day, because then most of the time after that it's getting boring and not interesting anymore. Yeah, that's my situation at the moment.
Okay, so interesting. I see actually a lot of parallel things to what Natoshi is doing on a daily level. So you guys really are, down there on the low time frame charts, trying to siphon off and use the volatility of a market. It's very interesting. Jonathan, for you, do you have anything you would like to share with us in terms of getting ready for tactics? We only have
sure.
6
I mean,
minutes to go.
sure. I can give you my my overall idea of Bitcoin right here. So we're in a range, and we've been in this range for 275 days now. So it's about time that we start moving higher, right? I do love that we had a beautiful bounce here on the range EQ area. That was the Silicon Valley Bank collapse dump right here, where we actually came down, we hit that 0.618 beautifully, and I started to accumulate. So what I do on Bitcoin is I have a dollar cost average strategy where I buy every weekend, and I don't really trade Bitcoin other than if I have a strong swing trading signal. But looking at this chart, you have to kind of understand that Bitcoin is at resistance, and while it would be great to see this level break, we're probably going to see prices move above these wicks, and there's going to be a lot of people getting in here. But as with all news events, we'll see prices spike to the upside and to downside. This range for me is not broken until we have a daily open and close above this level. So for me, I would have to wait at least 24 hours before I can confirm that Bitcoin is safe and secure above 25K, and that it's only going to happen if the inflation data is lower than expected. Maybe if it's as expected, but that move will probably come later, is what I'm thinking. And the first target would be 29K, and then second target for that breakout move, which would probably take days or even weeks, would be the 31K. And honestly, I think 31K will provide us with an insanely strong resistance area right here. So I will be selling most of my Bitcoin at 35K and then buy back lower, depending on what the macro is telling us. But I think it's very important to remember here that we're trading at resistance. So whenever we have a news event, it happens all the time, right? We have a news event, risk assets are at resistance. Well, usually resistance levels, they tend to act as resistance. And I think that's what we're going to see today. What happened last time we had the CPI numbers was Bitcoin was actually trading down here, which gave it an opportunity to bounce at support on a positive inflation data. And what happened was we came up, we hit that range high, and then boom, straight down. This time is a little bit different from a technical point of view. We are actually at the very high of resistance 4 minutes before the actual news release, which creates a different scenario. And in my mind, it's highly likely that we're going to get a fake out. So how do you trade this? Like, if we're getting questions on how do you trade this news event. Well, you don't really trade this news event. If you don't know what you're doing, you stay out. Like, do not trade this. It's high volatility. You're gonna get stopped out. We have wicks to the upside and the downside. It's basically the algorithms are gonna go crazy, and it's basically designed to take out your stops. Well, what I do is the initial reaction. I think it's somewhere something close to what Natoshi talked about as well. Usually the initial move is most of the time going to get reversed. So if we have, let's say we have a breakout here. So this is on the 5 minute, right? Let's say we have a breakout. We could zoom in here and create some sort of range here on the lower time frames. So let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's say you have a break out of this low time frame range right here, and we have like 5 minute candle maybe closing up here. I'm expecting that price is going to reverse down to the breakout area, where the news breakout or whatever, and I would then I would fade the initial move or long a bounce on the breakout level. So if we have like the news event, and then we have a couple of 5 minute candles going down, and we have a bullish candle right here, that's going to be a break and retest of the range highs. And then we'll probably buy here, put stops somewhere below the range, and then possibly is trail my stop up, because that breakout could be quite massive. But usually what I do when I scalp is I try to fade the initial move, and that would be 30 minutes before the announcement. So first you have the announcement, and if you have a pump, I would try to short that on the lower time frames 30 minutes after the announcement. But like the hit rate on that is very low. The risk to reward is quite high, but the win rate is like 30% or something like that.
Yeah. All right, we have like 45 seconds to go. Last question before we first have a look then how the actual number is going to be. Anybody want to make a trade with my account?
Well, I had to log in.
You can do it with my account. Don't worry.
All right.
Don't need to risk your own money. So I'm going to take a bet here. I'm pretty much on the side of LIBZ here. I think we are going to see. Actually, first of all, I think the number is going to be slightly worse than expected. I expected 6.1%. So I'm willing to short actually here half a Bitcoin.
But sure, I'm going to go long. I don't care. I don't care what
I like that actually.
I get this opportunity, I'll go long.
So yeah, I'm going to buy half a Bitcoin for you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks for hedging me. That's good. At least I'm not going to lose
I'll
money.
send you my wallet address.
How about you, Alex, Natoshi?
I'm stopped out at the moment, so let's see.
I think the number should also be released now already.
Any second now. Oh, TP1.
Oh, we're going up
6%. 6%. So core inflation, ladies and gentlemen, 5.5%, and inflation rate year over year at 6%. So everything like expected. The relief.
And Bitcoin is pumping. Well,
and Bitcoin is pumping like crazy.
I made money.
Bank.
And I have my swing positions hitting. Oh man, look at that! Holy shit!
Wow.
And I can see all the alarms now triggering.
Well, I got one. I got TP1 on CHF JPY, and I have TP1 on GBP NCD, which is pretty cool.
25K now, exactly. So but not that much of a move, actually, no? I mean,
as expected, we have month to month actually slightly higher, which is year to year.
It's exactly like expected.
Yeah. Okay. So it's 5 now. I think. All right. Mostly as expected. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing.
So not that much of a surprise here that came in. Yeah, let us know, guys out there, were you trading this event? How are you planning to position yourself when it comes to risk on assets, so stocks, and also, of course, cryptocurrencies in the upcoming weeks?
Maybe you could help me. I shared my screen now, but I can't show it to you.
Because I need to activate it. Hold on a second. Okay. I'll activate your screen, Alex. Here
you
go.
Look at the 1 minute. That is an insane breakout.
Yeah, you see, there is an active long position. I re-entered the market with a really close stop on the 15-minute chart, and a small position, just 1 point 0.1 Bitcoin, and really short position, small position.
Oh shit, it's coming back down. You're gonna get
no
stopped out,
problem.
man.
No.
So
Here's my stop.
where did you put your stop loss is down there? Okay.
Yeah, my stop is at because I took the low of the last candle, and my position size is really close to.
So is your stop already? Sorry, don't mind me asking. Your stop already in profit now?
No, not. I could move it to the entry now, so that's no problem now. So I can now relax.
I don't want to talk you into things, of course. You do.
No. It's a quite simple trade because we had this little move, but it could be also just a liquidation move about the expectations. You know, at the moment we need to wait for the next candle. I trade on this situation with 15 minutes. Small balance, you see, and I expect here $100 to $200 profit trade if it breaks out in this small position, but not more. It's not. I don't like risky trades in situations like this. So you see,
that should be the mantra of every trader. Actually, I don't take risky trades.
I like that.
Yeah. I saw Natoshi also typing there. I think she also took some trades, maybe.
I was looking at the charts, but I'm still waiting for the market too, because you can see the fake outs that we had from the resistance. I'm looking at Nasdaq at 12K. We saw the retest of it, and we also came back down. Sorry, I can actually share my screen. Oh,
yeah,
I'm
I
doing it
activated
already.
your screen.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
so we
we're
saw in
stalking
the
you here.
huh?
Yeah, so we are stalking your screen, of course.
Yeah. So we saw the crazy drop that we did have in the beginning of Nasdaq, and we came down to 11,931. So we are above the previous another Fibonacci that I'm using at 11,980. But it's for myself, it's really hard to take a trade now because we're just going back and forth. So I'm waiting. We were talking about this on one of the live streams that we had before, is that I'm waiting for the market either to break the support here to continue down, or I'm waiting for the market to break the resistance, because otherwise it's so easy for me to get faked out, because you can see how the market is just bouncing in between these levels. So I'm waiting patiently for the market to break one of these levels.
I think what is interesting right now is, I mean, we see quite a pump there in Bitcoin, but not so much happening on the stock markets. If I look also at the S&P 500. So it's good to see. I mean, it makes me happy, of course, to see Bitcoin developing a life of its own, not just being the beta slave of the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq. What do you guys make out of this? Is this maybe a trend that's going to continue? Hopefully, the next weeks, the next months, that we see Bitcoin emancipating itself a bit from the stock markets, or if it's just a current situation?
I think it's. I mean, that scenario is like it's almost too good to be true. So
yeah,
when something's all so when something's too good to be true, it's probably not true. I think Bitcoin is it's too early to call it a hedge against the bank. I mean, hopefully it's not too late, but in 5 years, 5 to 10 years, and hopefully the banking system hasn't completely crashed at that point. But I do feel like it's a little bit too early. And looking at this range, I'm just it's we've peaked above these wicks here on the daily, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, looking at the dollar currency index, we're actually not breaking the lows on the dollar currency index. We are, I mean, if you look at the Forex market, you can go through like the overall trends that we had over the course of the last month are holding true. The move that we saw here is the overall moves are actually the overall trends are actually still very, very valid, and the dollar currency index is not breaking down. But it's it's only been 6 minutes, so this can of course break to the downside. But then you look at you do look at the indices. I'm not really seeing. Let's see if I can switch to the right one. I'm not really seeing much of bullishness coming in from the overall indice market. Nothing like, well, there's some, I guess, but nothing like Bitcoin. The initial move on Bitcoin, And this also makes me believe that maybe like our friend here said before about the liquidation, maybe that this is low time frame. Maybe this is like a liquidation event that drew that pumped the price of Bitcoin, because I can't really see a similar scenario in a lot of other markets.
So you mean we had short positions being liquidated, were forced liquidated, or?
Yeah, perhaps. Because
I mean, we saw quite, I think, quite a large amount of open interest when it comes to short positions. But by the way, Alex, you still in your position, or have you been stopped out?
I've stopped out, and when it wicked back, I re-entered. So
he is doing
I stopped
scalping
with
back
profit.
and forth.
I stopped with a little bit profit. Yeah, just re-entered when it came back. I can show you. Do you see my? This is my daily at the moment, and you see the resistance here. And we had yesterday the same situation. We had a lot of resistance yesterday. We had a resistance zone, and when it broke through yesterday, then we had this big breakout. So you see it on my. I used the support and resistance levels with bricks as a support for entry, and you see I expect the breakout here to get a massive pump, but you see the volume is okay compared to yesterday. Yeah, we have good signals, but you see the rejection here. I'm not so this is why I have only a 0.12 Bitcoin position. I would enter with much more if I'm more confident, but I'm not really not confident in this situation. I try to find a good enter into a bull pump if it comes, but I'm really close to stop. My stop loss is for 24,550. So it's really close. Yeah,
and we can see, if I look to my side here right now, Bitcoin really struggling there with the 25K. Just now a little bit down again. Now it's up again. It's going to be an interesting afternoon for sure.
If you're looking at I like how the 1 minute kind of retested that breakout area beautifully.
Wait, let me activate your screen.
If you're scalping this, this is what you want to see, right? Now, this happened way earlier than I thought, but you do have that range, right? A low time frame range. And when you have that break above the range highs, you came down and we basically retested that area perfectly. And it's probably the 618 as well of this move. Now, of course, this is the 1 minute, which is kind of stupid doing T like this on a 1 minute, but it actually works, So you come down and you hit that reload zone perfectly. Right there. So I mean, if you're scalping this, having that entry around this area is and stops below the range, it's actually not too bad. I think that's a pretty good entry if you're scalping this. But I mean, going long at high time frame resistance, that's usually ends bad in my experience. So I think, I mean, if Bitcoin breaks out here and starts trading up, like has a daily open and close above this level, we do see the previous trends in the markets are basically continuing, like we saw last couple of days and even weeks. We might, if Bitcoin decouples from the stock market here, we might actually see people trying to find a hedge against an unsecure banking system, because like people understand now that they need to diversify. If you look at Silicon Valley Bank, it's not like the customers to Silicon Valley Bank thought that the bank is going to collapse. So it's not like somebody told them like, you can't have all your cash in that bank. You got to diversify. Now, nobody said that because nobody really thought about that. But now I think people will start to actually look into alternatives to diversify their investments. And Bitcoin is definitely going to be a part of that investment because it's made for this.
I mean, that's what we, if we look at it from maybe the glasses of traditional banking, what we saw also the last days now, like large corporate banks in the United States. So I'm talking here about Citigroup, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and you name them. they have so many requests and applications for new account openings of corporate clients, they cannot process them anymore. So it's like crazy. Everybody's running from the local banks back to the top 3, or let's say top 5 or top 8 banks in America right now. And of course, like you just said, there's this alternative also out there called Bitcoin, that maybe you might think, if you are a like a modern young startup CEO, that you might think, okay, maybe I should put this on my balance sheet too. Not all of my money, of course, all of my investors' money, but maybe a little bit. I think we should take the time maybe to answer also some questions that we have been seen popping up here from our audience. So let's start maybe with this one from Ragnar. Hi guys, considering last weekend situation, if also inflation comes as expected higher, well, it came as expected, as we saw, that means that the bets for hikes are higher. How long for the market to settle down with volatility? What I would like to maybe discuss here based on this question is what is going to happen with the with potential interest rate hikes of the Federal Reserve Bank now in the future. What do you guys think about that? Are we going to still see those fast interest rate hikes of, for example, 0.5%? Are they going to slow down now? Are we maybe even going to see interest rate hikes reversing, and we are going to see interest rates dropping soon again? You got any thoughts on this? Nobody.
I think Powell's been very clear. He's been very clear in his messaging. He's not going to slow down until the job is done. So, we have to see the labor market slowing down. We have to see inflation going down more under a longer period consistently before the Fed starts slowing down. The problem is, though, that we now have the situation with the banks, so they can't, like, if they can't move forward too fast and too aggressively, because that might create more problems than it solves. But let's hope that the Fed actually goes out and secures every depositors, like secures the deposits for especially those local banks, to make sure that there's not going to be a lot of more bank runs. For the sake of the economy, right? But then for Bitcoin, maybe that would be a good thing. So I got quite a lot of equity in Bitcoin, so I'm okay with that. But then I'm also trading Forex and I'm making a living. Bitcoin's not going to pay my bills. I don't really care about Bitcoin when it comes to paying my bills. I need that fiat. I need the American dollar. So you can't have the cake and eat it at the same time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, like you just said, a singular event is not going to completely change the strategy of the Federal Reserve Bank, although it seems to me kind of that this is exactly what the market is expecting a little bit. So if we look at, where do I have it? Hold on a second. Here, this one here, I think it is. Yeah. So if we look here, this was posted earlier today by a Twitter user called Dylan Leclerc. So it compares the Fed funds future, so basically the bet on where in March 2023 and March 2024 the interest rate environment is going to be in the USA. And interestingly enough, for 2024, this completely reversed within just the last days. So from being at around about 5.4%, now down to 3.9%. So kind of within the next year, actually, it seems like the market now is expecting that the Fed is going to lower interest rates. And I think it's kind of interesting to see how this is going to play out, especially with the next interest rate decision, whether it's going to, I mean, it's for sure going to be in hike, but if it's going to be one by 25 basis points, or 50 basis points. So we have the next event already lining up there, in my opinion, that is going to for sure move the markets. Maybe we have here one more question that we can choose here. This one maybe from Brian Rodriguez. What strategies can be used to minimize trading risk in a volatile market due to changes in the CPI? What do you guys think of that, how would you minimize your trading risk? I have
Not
a
trading.
answer.
I
Not
can say
trading
something
during
about
news events.
it. First of all, I prefer the so-called, I don't know how it called in English, R value strategy. I calculate my risk on the position size. So I make my support and resistance analysis and then I search for my support. And then I search where is the best support area. And then I take my stop loss. And then I calculate my stop loss against my assets on the bank. So, for example, my maximum stop is maximum loss is 1% of my whole bag. So I don't go like I always take 1% stop loss. So I watch for the resistance. For example, I go 4% stop loss. So then I calculate how much would be 4% stop loss against my whole portfolio. So it would be maximum 1% loss if I'm get stopped out. So this is my strategy for risk management. So at the end of the day, there are different ways to get a good trader, to become a good trader. Yeah, you take, for example, indicators or support and resistance or what else you like to do. At the end of the day, you need one strategy that's working for you, and then you need a good risk management. And risk management is 99% of the whole trading process. So, and that's it. And so you minimize your risk at all if you have a good risk management with your stop loss value to asset value calculation. Yeah, for example, it's really easy to calculate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so you look at the risk and calculate your risk accordingly to the stop you want to choose, for sure. I think, Lip, you said something before as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to trade this event, I mean, like Alex said here, I mean, it's like he said, it's 99% risk management. And the truth is, with trading, I mean, I've been doing this for many years, and if it's one thing I know is I have a lot of small losers, and every loser is going to be no more than 1% of my account. So every trade I take, I know that if it's a loser, it's going to never be bigger than 1% of my trading account. So I have a lot of small losers, I have a lot of small winners, and then a few big winners, and it's going to be those few big winners that actually make you profitable. So I mean, like I teach all my students, you can never be profitable with bad risk management, no matter what trading system you have. You can have the best trading system in the world, but if you have bad risk management, you can never be profitable. But you can actually be profitable with a really bad trading system, but with great risk management. So yeah, it's really, I would just recommend that, like Alex said, just risk 1% of your account or whatever on each trade, and you're gonna have a much easier time trading. I remember when I started, I risked 25% of my portfolio on like some shitty altcoin that I don't even know the name of, and I'm quite quickly blow that account.
Okay, so maybe like two more things here. First of all, I think there is news on the trades Alex is doing right now, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah. So the trade is working well. I already moved the stop to the low of the 15-minute candle. I'm so really close to with this breakout trade. I'm not sure. You see, the volume is not as much as it needed to be to break the whole stuff, but the entry was good. The support was good broken. I can share also the second screen I had I showed you the last time. So you see, maybe you can give it to. You see, we broke this resistance level. So I expected a retest and then a breakout. So it didn't happen at the moment, but it can happen. So let's see. Maybe I get stopped out, but it worked really well out. So just wanted to show this was a little bit luck, for sure. But sometimes I have to admit that trading is not only knowledge; it's sometimes also a little bit luck. So,
but there's this German saying, "Luck is with the diligent," and. So this is for sure a great example. But ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you can see, this is how it's done. I hope you also saw like everybody having their different approach. Different approaches can work. And as Alex, Natoshi, and Lips said so beautifully earlier, by the end of the day, it then all depends on risk management. One more question I see here for Natoshi. Maybe we close with this one from a user, from a viewer here. How do you get to know if it's a fake out or not?
Oh yeah, we're talking about the fake outs on my channel every day. And can I share this? Yeah, okay. So how I calculate the fake outs myself is that I need to see where I have it. So on BTC, so what I do when I try to calculate the fake outs is that I'm always trying to find the resistance before we have the break of it, and then saw the market drop down once again. So I'm always using the resistance before the fake out. And because we know that when it comes to trading overall, textbook, the market is moving high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows in a uptrend. So we're looking at a uptrend at the moment. So when the market is breaking one resistance, it's supposed to create a higher low against that resistance if we're following textbook. But when the market is dropping below that previous resistance and we're retesting that exact same resistance from below, that is the beginning of a fake out. So that's how I'm able to calculate it. So just trying to make it clear, you have the resistance here, market breaks it, close below, you see the retest from below, this is the sign that the market is supposed to drop down. So this is the reason why I am looking at this resistance at the moment to see that this is not going to happen. But what we can also see is that we have a lot of volatility at the moment breaking above these levels. And you can see before that you saw the market was very close to the resistance the whole time. And then you started to see a lot of bearish momentum happening. And that's the big sign. And another thing, how I'm also calculating the fake outs is that I'm going to do, maybe we can find something here. Let me see. So for example, when the market is in a uptrend, you're using the Fibonacci always from the last higher low to the higher high, which will also give you the 61.8% and 50%. But when the market is breaking these levels, you can see how the market still uses the same Fibonacci, but retest it from below. So that is also a way to calculate the fake outs. And that's how I do it, at least.
All right. Thanks a lot for answering this question. And yeah, we've been streaming now for almost an hour. I think it's about time to wrap things up. Thank you, lady, and of course, gentlemen, also for doing this with me today, this important event. We saw everything coming out in line of expectation. However, we are, as it seems at the moment, seeing Bitcoin establishing itself over 25,000. The big question, of course, is going to be, are we going to close above 25,000 today or not? And if we do, what does that mean for the structure of the market in the next days? It was a lot of fun having you guys here. Again, thanks for joining me. Thanks, of course, also for everybody out there watching today. I hope we could shed a little bit light onto an event like this and what is to expect in the next couple of days, and how to, of course, also approach an event like this trading wise. I know you guys are always nosy when it comes to news trading. And as you saw, there are many roads to road. There are many roads that lead to success. Thanks again. Take care, everybody. And see you again very, very soon next time. Goodbye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.